Hello and welcome to another exciting Blender tutorial. I'm Chris Bailey and we're going to be making a miniature robot. Let's get started. All right, that'd be fun to make another little droid of some kind. So I've got a cool sketch that I've been working on. I thought we'd try and put it together in 3D. I'm going to just get rid of my light and my camera, just so I'm just looking at my default cube. And I want to start off, I'm going to have this be like a circular robot. So it's got like a round body. So I'm going to start off by adding a subdivision surface modifier to this. And I'm going to turn up my subdivisions a little bit, maybe to not too many. 2 is probably good. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click up here on this little drop down and I'm going to click apply. So this is a technique for getting a sphere that has really nice geometry. So if I was just to have created a UV sphere, you can see we've got the pinch top and bottom, right? Where everything kind of goes to that center vertex. So it can lead to a lot of problems if you're trying to create some interesting shapes and stuff and you need to be able to extrude, or this will give us a nice clean look. I could even go shade smooth. You can see it's pretty similar to a sphere. We could go a little bit smoother with it by going to edit mode, hitting A to select all, hitting F3 and typing in to sphere. This is a great little tool for spherizing objects, and just drag your mouse to the right until you see it round out. And that'll just make sure it's as spherical as it could be. Now with this done, I'm gonna start kind of mapping out the basic shapes. I got this idea of like having a little like round body and 2 like sort of rabbit ear things at the top. I want to separate out some components. First thing I'm gonna do is I want to punch a circle for the eye, and I want to lift out some top bits for the ears. Let's do the eye first. I'll just grab face mode, and I'll grab these faces just like that, and I'll hit I to inset. And I'll bring this in, and then I'm going to spherize this. I'm going to make sure this is a circle. So I'll go F3 and again to sphere, and then drag my mouse, and that will make it circular. It's also going to bring this tip out, which I don't want, but that's all right. We can just go to vertex mode, and we're going to delete that vertex anyways. So we just have this nice tip. Now it is kind of like it's pushed these in a bit, which I also don't want. So I'm just going to shift select those guys. And what I'm going to do is just grab them on X and just bring them out. I'm also thinking of like maybe separating the 2 hemispheres of this object. So there's like a gap, right? And there's like some mechanical bits on the inside. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'll select this by holding down Alt and clicking the edge here. That'll select this edge loop, which is that whole continuous edge. I'll look at this dead on with 3 on my number keypad. I can also just click on the X here to snap into that angle. And I wanna go to transparent mode. This way I can select all vertexes, even the ones that are sort of hiding by being behind where I'm looking at the moment. And I'll just drag a box selection for all of this. I don't want to lose those center ones. And I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate. So now I've got 2 bits of the same thing. And I'm going to hit P to separate by selection. So I've got a different object now that's going to be this other half. And I'm going to grab that a different object. I'm going to go out of edit mode, select this guy, and I'm going to hit G and Z and just bring him up a little bit. Now I'm gonna go back in edit mode for the original object, and I'll box select the same stuff all up here at the top, and I'll delete those vertexes. So now I just have a bottom half, and I can grab Z and negative 0.01 just to bring it down a touch there. So now I've got this like gap between the two halves. I can select both these guys and Control J to join, and that will put them back together as one object. And now I've got my basic ball. All right, now I'm gonna turn off transparent mode again. And I wanna think about these ears. So I kind of want these ears to like look like they fit into the ball, but they can like lift up. So I think what I'll do is I will grab this group here, all of these guys, and I'm gonna hit P to separate by selection again. So now it's a new object. So I'll leave edit mode, I'll go to the new object, and I think what I'll do is I will separate this out as well. Yeah, I'll separate this by selection as well. So I've got 3 objects. Go into edit mode. See this angle, right? That we've got here. I want to keep that angle. So I want to take this edge, and instead of just like scaling it, right? So it just scrunches it all down. That's going to change that angle. I want to keep the angle the same. So I actually want to just take this edge and I'm going to slide it along this angle basically. So I'm kind of moving it up, but keeping the angle. So I'll hold down Alt and I'll select, I'm going to edge mode, sorry. Hold down Alt and select that edge. And there's a trick here. If you double tap G, it will grab but lock onto the other edges that it's connected to. And you can like slide it along those edges. And I'll just slide it up just a little bit. Bingo. All right, great. I grab this one. All right, now for the back end of these guys, I want to grab my vertex here that's on this edge, and I'm going to double tap G with this as well and just slide it along because I kind of want it to like go to a point. I might bring this one in a touch. So double tap G, bring it in a little bit. Let's grab these guys maybe. Let's just do this section right here and this section right here. These are going to be the bits that open up for the feet. Let's see what happens when we put a subdivision surface. Let's go ahead and start looking at the result of this. You just do some holding edges and that should work. How about these guys? Up here, subdivision surface. So I'm gonna Control R, create a loop cut and bring it right down and then grab Z, just a touch. Control R, bring it right up, grab Z, bring it down just a touch. I might just do this. I'll insert this loop cut along here. It kind of like, it's going to make this hard bit at the front, but I don't know. It's kind of a cool feature. Let's bring this down. These will be easy. Just a simple loop cut like this. Might want to imitate this over here. So grab this, bring it over, grab this, and bring it back a little bit. That'll make a nice kind of, yeah, this back end's gonna look cool. All right, let's make these guys a bit solid and let's figure out what these are gonna look like. So I'm gonna take both of these and I'm going to, let's see, I'll grab the edge right here and this bottom edge and I'll Shift S, cursor to selection. Then I'll leave edit mode. And what I'll do is I'll go object, set origin, origin to 3D cursor. That'll put the origin right there where I want it to pivot. So I'll do the same for this side. And then what we can do is we can grab both of these guys, and if we rotate Y, they're gonna come right up in the way that we want. Now I might spread them out a little bit. So I might take these guys, this guy here, rotate X a touch. All right, so I'm gonna select the frame here and I'm gonna go into edit mode and I'm gonna hit A to select all, and then I'm gonna hit E to extrude and S to scale, and I'll bring it in just a tiny bit. And then E again, scale, bring it in to create the thickness, and then E again and scale again just a tiny bit. That double bit is what gives this sort of a little bevel, which is going to give us a nicer, more realistic look. Do the thickness on these guys. A, E to extrude, S to scale just a tiny bit, E, scale a bit more. So, and this one I might just bring in like that and then leave it, like let it have a curved inner bit. I think that looks kind of nice. Just add a subdivision surface onto them. Set it to 2 like the others. A to select all, E, scale a little bit, E and scale a lot, bring it up. All right, let's go ahead and make the eye. So I'm going to come right in here and Shift S, cursor to selected, and then Shift A, we're going to grab a mesh cylinder, rotate Y 90 degrees, scale it right down, grab X, bring it forward, scale it down. Just doing like a single eye camera thing. The classic, go into edit mode, grab that front face, and I will delete it because yuck. Who wants a face that's an in-gon, right? Am I right? I'm right, aren't I? Let's grab this edge here. We'll grab X, bring it forward a touch. Grab this one with E and scale to bring it in. Create a little rim for our lens. E and grab X. We'll go in. E, scale, grab X, bring it forward. F3, type grid, fill. There it is. And it will automatically work for us. You can adjust it using the offset. If you bring up this little drop down that kind of hides behind my head. But that's only if you really feel OCD about it. I'm gonna get it as straight as possible. Grab the center vertex and then turn on proportional editing and grab X. Roll my mouse wheel down to get it smaller. Where is it? There it is. Here it comes. Here it comes. There you go. And just bring it forward a bit just to round it out. Shade smooth. And let's turn on auto smooth for this. Bring it inside so it's like sitting nestled in there. Back to edit mode. Let's grab this bit. I'll turn off proportional editing. Grab X and we'll just bring this back. Turn on transparent mode so I can see what's going on. Just bring it back inside like this. What happens if we subdivision this one? Mostly curious about this lensing thing. So alt click, try and grab these 3 sides and then scale them up to kind of soften it out. That looks good. Now I feel like it'd be good to Control R right here to the corner and then with this edge and this edge. Let's actually, let's just switch to edge mode. We'll select that edge and then, so Shift Alt click to get that edge there, and then Control B to bevel. We'll just bevel them. Hold down Shift just to make it a really small adjustment. All right, we could make some panels. So I could grab maybe these two, I to inset, and then like E to extrude, grab Y, push it in, E again, grab Y, push it in a bit further. Let's find a few more, maybe this one, inset this, E. Come down here, let's do the old roll cut. So Control R, roll the mouse wheel, click, hit escape, Control B to bevel, split them all, and then E to extrude and scale. All right, I'm gonna create a sphere inside the sphere. So Shift A, mesh, sphere, scale this down, right click, shade smooth. This will be just sort of like, so we can have like an inner bit. So we'll go mesh, curve, Bezier, go into edit mode. And I'm gonna scale to 0 to get rid of the handles on this. Scale to 0 there too. Grab this here, and then E to come in like this. Just go right inside the head. And then I can come over here and we can go geometry and we can do depth. Hold down Shift and just drag that up. Grab Y, line it up with the ear. Let's go into edit mode. Let's grab Alt A to deselect all. Let's hit B to box select. We'll grab these two and Shift D. This will create a separate curve within the curve. And then we can do things like Alt S to scale them, right? And this will allow us to kind of make narrow bits like that. And just bring this over here. Alt S, scale up. I'll grab this one and grab it in. You can also turn caps on, fill caps. I'll just line this up. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just kind of doing this. So by pressing L, like when you select a vertex and then you hit L, it's going to select linked. So it links everything that's like every vertex that's linked to that object. So you can get a whole group of things. Like if you've got multiple objects within one piece of geometry or within one curve. Shift D, grab Z. At the joint, I'm going to select the joint one, and I'll see cursor to selected, and then get out of edit mode, Shift A, and we're going to create a mesh UV sphere to create a, oops, not UV sphere, mesh cylinder, create a like a little hinge. So rotate on the X 90 degrees, oops, rotate X 90 degrees. There it is. Scale it down, zoom in, scale down, and then let's go into edit mode, select the faces, delete those, go into edge mode, alt click E to extrude, scale E, and grab Y. Oh, we're in local. Grab Y, bring it out, and E, scale E, grab Y, grid fill, and then let's just Control R, loop cut right down the middle, switch to vertex mode. Alt click to grab all those, delete those vertices, and then over here in a modifier, we can just add a mirror modifier on the Y, Z, there it is, Z. Why would it be Z? Oh, it's because I've rotated the object and I didn't apply it. That's why. I know what I'm doing. Seriously. I'm gonna apply that. And cool. Maybe scale Y, bring it down a touch. Cool, let's get all this detail, and let's see, we could just box select all this stuff, shift box select that one. All right, so we duplicated all these guys. So what we're gonna do is take this and then we can just rotate, but you know what, let's rotate it from where the 3D cursor is. So instead of here, let's go to 3D cursor as the pivot point. Then we hit R to rotate, then we can just, oh, we didn't duplicate. Shift D to duplicate, then R to rotate, and we can just bring these guys down. So we can just take this whole object and we can Shift D to duplicate, grab Y, and we can use the same thing for these legs. So Shift D to duplicate, and let's rotate Y 90 degrees, grab Z, bring it down, rotate Y. Oh, we're still pivoting from that point. Let me switch that back to, let's see, medium point, rotate Y, Z, grab Y, bring it out so it kind of lines up right in the middle. You guys like the camera over here, by the way? I don't know if I do or not. I think I like it. It's fun. Sort of like, hey, you're right next to me. We're working together on this thing. All right, great. So I'm going to select these guys and Shift D to duplicate. Grab Y, bring it over here as well. That looks pretty good. Need to like rotate maybe, like that. Is that gonna give it a better look? Maybe what we need to do is select the bottoms here. Control plus, grab Z, flatten it out. That does work a little bit better, I think. All right, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to get rid of, go to transfer mode. I'm just gonna get rid of all these guys. I'm just working on the one now, and I'll just line it up and I'll just Shift D to duplicate. Go into edit mode, select all, scale Y -1 to flip it, and then grab Y, bring it over here. Essential. It's like looks like a little chicken robot, doesn't it? How can we like unchickenify this? Do they need to be longer? Let's go into edit mode on these legs and grab these guys. We'll hit E and grab Z, X, bring them back. Is that going to be cool? Like, do we want to have like a double hinge thing? So maybe bring these guys forward a touch more. And actually we'll do both at the same time. I'll grab both joints, so that joint and that joint. Shift D to duplicate. Grab Z, bring it down. I'll look at it from the side. Bring it forward. And scale these guys up a touch. Just line them up. Now we just need a bit more of those pistons and things here. So what we do is we can grab, let's do the same technique where we just grab these, Shift D, grab X, Alt S, scale. Let's shrink this, all this, just see what it looks like. I know that kind of kills like the whole fact that it folds up, but you know, it might be a little bit cooler. All right, let's create a ground plane for him. Actually, let's go ahead and take him. Let's take all of the parts, and I'm going to parent them to the cube one. So let's call this droid body. And what I'll do is I'll shift select everything, and then control click droid body. And we're going to parent everything to object and keep transform. That will put all of it parented to droid body. So I can just grab this, and we can bring it up and get his feet kind of right on the grid there. And I can create a plane, zero it out. That's clicking and dragging, by the way, is how you do that. Let's get a camera going. So Shift A, camera, jump into that camera. Let's lock our camera to view. And then I'll line up a nice little shot. I wanted to make this look like a little miniature droid, like it's a super tiny thing. So I'm gonna want to probably be very shallow depth of field and probably a really long lens. So maybe like 150, something like that as well. So I'm gonna take my camera, I'm gonna click on viewport display, passport tool, just turn this up to 1 to max it out, just so it helps me focus on just what I'm trying to see. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to rendered view. And I want to get a nice HDRI into my background. So I'm going to split my view, go to my shader editor, click on up here where it says object. I'm going to switch this to world. And I want to get a new background shader, a new color going for my background shader. I'm going to use an environment texture. So I'm going to look for environment texture with Shift A. And now I can just pull one up. I recommend going to, let's see, polyhaven.com as a really great website to get HDRIs. And so I'm going to create, so I grabbed one called Ballroom. Just look at it. This is what it looks like. It's a nice artist gallery kind of thing. I'm also going to go to my render tab, turn on ambient occlusion, bloom, and screen space reflections. And then I'm going to come into my world shader and I'm going to grab a texture coordinate node and I will plug generate it into the vector. And then I'm going to grab a mapping node. Now, the reason why I did the texture coordinate node is because Blender requires it in order to use the mapping node. It's automatically doing this. It uses this automatically. So this is happening whether or not you have it here, but you have to include it in the pipe if you want to use the mapping node, which allows me to now rotate this HDRI however I want. Looks pretty good. I'm also going to turn on depth of field of my camera because you can see I've got a really low res HDRI, but that's okay because I want to blow it all out. So I can turn on depth of field here and I can just click on my focus object as, let's say, the lens of my little guy, and then I can decrease my f-stop until my background really goes nice and out of focus. Okay, so let's start mapping out some simple materials for this guy. We'll start with the body and I'll switch over to my object mode. And let's just get a nice color and a nice roughness. I'm going to bring the roughness down so we get nice reflections. And let's try for like a yellow first. Oh, that looks really nice actually already. Might darken it up and pump the saturation. So we could try for a tiny bit of subsurface scattering. Let the light penetrate inside the object. So that's something that you get like with butter or things like that, but it does help with plastic to give a little bit of subsurface in there. I'm going to just play with this hue. And then let's see. Let's take our these guys, the cylinder things, and let's create a new material for these, and we'll give this a dark base color, and we will make these guys metallic. And I'll turn the specular up, and we'll bring the roughness down, and I'll select everything that I want to have with that material. So I'll bring these guys, and I'll drop down, grab pipes, and then click the little down triangle arrow thing, and copy material to selected. That will put it on all of them. And then this inner ball area, let's give this a new material. We'll call this inner region. Let's call it inner. It's fine. And I'm going to darken it. Let's take the lens. I'm going to bring it out a little bit. And with the lens, we're going to have different materials in different parts of the object. So I'll select the center vertex and Control Plus to expand my selection until I get the whole lens. I'm going to click New, call this lens, and I'll click Assign. And then I'm going to go up here to the Select menu and I click Invert. That will select everything else. And I can click Plus to add a new slot, New to create a new material, call this Lens Housing. So for Lens Housing, I'll select that, and I'll just make this like a dark material, like so. And then for lens, I'm going to keep it white. I'll bring the roughness all the way down so it's very reflective. Specular up, and I'll bring the base color down so it behaves more like a mirror. Black is kind of nice actually. Lens housing. Maybe we'll come off black a bit, like give it more of a mid-gray. That we could make it metallic. That might look nice. Well, I hope you had a good time with this tutorial, learned some really neat stuff. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video if you enjoyed it, and ring the bell if you want to get notifications. Check out the Patreon as well. If you want to get this project file, it's available on Patreon this month and next month. So catch it while it's available now if you're interested in it. If you joined at the second tier and up, you get access to project files for the current month and the previous month. So it's really worth your time if you're interested in that. Thanks again for watching. If you want to catch all the uncut stuff, all the extra bits, the little extra details to get to the final image, you want to check out the Patreon or join on YouTube. I've got the full uncut version of this video there. We go into tons of extra stuff. I go on crazy tangents and create some cool imagery. So if you want to get it to look like this, go check that out. You get those extra details. Hope you really enjoy it. Thanks again for watching. I'll catch you in the next tutorial. Until then, have a fantastic week. See you later.